Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So today, I'm fortunate to have an honorary guest come in my channel. This person goes by the name of Dave Mack. He's under the handle Zero Carb Life on YouTube. Now, I interview him about his journey in the carnivore diet and what his experience has been so far. I hope you guys enjoy this interview and like, comment, and subscribe. So, Dave, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and how did you come across the carnivore diet?
Yeah, sure. So I'm an Australian, but I'm living in Japan, and I've been in Japan for about 17 years now, long enough that I should
Wow.
know how to speak Japanese. And I I was pre-diabetic, and also I had an issue with alcohol I had to deal with about a year ago, and that's what led me to carnivore. So I was told by my doctor that I was going to have to start taking some medications, and I've always been very anti-medication. And I decided that I wanted to give it a try on my own first, without before I took any medication. So I asked the doctor to give me a couple of weeks, and I went on keto.
Okay.
And over a very short period of time, keto morphed into carnivore, and it's been great for me. It's just I've just stuck with it the whole time, and it helped me to get off the alcohol. No more pre-diabetes, and a whole host of other things have improved.
Awesome, awesome
Mm.
stuff. And so, was it the doctor that recommended to go on the keto, or did you
Oh
find it out for yourself?
no, no, he was dead set on giving me drugs. He was um yeah. So when I was living in Australia, how long would it go? Would it have been? Well, it was about 22 years ago, I guess. Um,
Hmm,
I had lost a lot of weight doing Atkins,
right,
and so I'd been on Atkins maybe 2 or 3 months, and a current affair in Australia, which is a daily kind of news or current affairs show, um, started doing hit pieces all the time on the Atkins diet, and interviewing people that are on the Atkins diet, and basically letting the people run through their day of eating and all that kind of thing, and then basically having a doctor come on and tell them how they're about to die and all that kind of stuff.
hmm,
And so this kind of really made me nervous about doing Atkins or continuing to do Atkins, because it was just so much bad publicity. And also, I was a computer programmer, but one of the programmers I worked with used to be a nutritionist. And he
right,
was in my ear every day talking about how, no, you're gonna die. You need your whole grains. You need your this. You need your that. And so it all just got too much pressure, and I gave up. But one thing, well, quite a few things I learned at that time is my body responds really well to eating a high fat diet. And
right,
I have such just this much higher level of self-control when I'm eating a ketogenic diet. Um, and so over the years, I've been on and off, low carb or keto, as
hmm,
I've tried to manage my weight and other things. And it just seemed like, at the time, with the doctor giving me this news, that if I was going to get control of anything, what would help me would be to go on a ketogenic diet. And so
right,
that's what got me on there.
right, right. Okay.
Mm.
So if we're talking Atkins, that would be about, yeah, the 20 year that would have been, yeah, as you said, 20 years ago.
This would have been 2001, I think. Hang on. Maybe my maths is messed up. Hang on. 2011. 2011.
2011.
That no, that
That
sounds
that
wrong. No, 2001. It was 2001.
2001,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Curious to know,
Yeah.
apart from, like the obviously, as you mentioned, um the things that were coming out the current affair weren't always so positive and
Mm.
whatnot, but what did the people around you feel about that at that time? Because I would assume it would have been quite similar. The reception wouldn't be as great as
I think it was worse then than I think it
worse.
would be now.
Okay.
Because I mean, you were just a total crackpot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just this there's something wrong with this guy. Yeah. Um and yeah, I mean people like they didn't even want to engage with it basically when you started if they asked you how have you lost all this weight recently or whatever and you tell them and they just go what and the conversation would stop. Yeah, no, they weren't interested in talking.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess these were still the times where the food pyramid was still I guess the standard of you know the health advice that was given around at the
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
Um
So the
mm,
this kind of thing with a current affair at the time, this almost mirrors what happened recently with that 60 Minutes thing they did about carnivore. And I was feeling like, it's just history repeating itself,
reading itself, right?
but I think it's one step closer to carnivore being more widely accepted. So,
But that's right, that's right. Speaking of the carnivore diet, so you mentioned you started eating the ketogenic diet.
mm.
How did you come across the carnivore diet? What was the
Totally by accident. Um,
ah
so I never had any intentions on going carnivore. I had heard about it in the past, but I just kind of
mm,
thought, oh, it's just, I mean, even me being a person who is quite accepting of a keto diet, I'm was kind of like, oh, it's a real fringe thing or something, you know. I'm not going to get into that. But when I went keto, I was having stomach upsets, and I'd never experienced that before. And I was like I was searching YouTube, trying to find out what could it be. Has anyone got any feedback on, bad things that have happened when they first went keto?
mm,
And
mm.
I think it was Ken Berry's video that I eventually watched. So all roads lead through Ken Berry. Um,
Yeah,
but I think it was his video that I found, and he was talking about how um, you know, vegetables may not be that great for you,
right.
and about how, the lectins in the vegetables can cause problems, and specifically singled out nightshades. And it was
Mm, mm,
nightshades that I was eating. So I was
right.
eating like red peppers and yellow peppers and stuff like that with my breakfast because I was thinking, oh, well, there's loads of vitamin C in here. I can get all this vitamin C from these things. And actually, all it was really doing was keeping me in the bathroom. And so that day I watched that video and I thought, okay, well, fair enough. I'm just going to give up the vegetables for a while and see how I go. And I
Yeah,
just never took them back up again. And it was just everything was easier. And yeah, it just things progressed from there.
awesome. How long
Mm.
ago was that now? When did you go on to the carnivore diet?
It was June sometime, I think, but I don't remember the exact date because nothing was intentional. It
June
was
last
just
year.
so June 3 was when I started keto, but the
Okay.
actual date where I switched over between keto and carnivore is a bit blurry.
Oh, okay. But
Mm.
but but roughly around the year. It's been nearly a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, happy carniversary. It'll be
Thank you very much. Thank you very
whenever that
much.
is. That's awesome.
Mm.
And so could you talk to us about, I guess, your experience with carnivore? Now, I know that you've mentioned improvements with your with your um, stomach upset,
Mm.
and also it helped to get off the alcohol as well, which I'll get into in a little bit if you don't mind. But what were some other benefits that you've I guess received from this diet?
The list is long, and
Yeah.
it's hard to kind of keep track of everything because
Mm,
the improvements kind of happen all of a sudden. Like you'll notice there's one little improvement, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize that was no longer a problem. And then, a couple of weeks later, you might notice something else. But the
mm,
standout things for me have really been sleep. I still don't sleep enough just because of my
mm,
schedule, but
yes.
I I do much better on the same amount of sleep as I was getting before. So,
Mm,
I'm much more energetic when I get up in the morning, that kind of thing. And I think that might be one of the things that's also helped me with an improvement in mood and critical thinking, objectivity, stuff like that.
mm,
Um, and so there's all those kind of things around, sleep and mindset and stuff like that. But some of the more, I guess, tangible things would be I no longer have gum disease. So
oh, okay. Yeah.
since going carnivore, and unfortunately, I haven't got any kind of dates to say, well, this happened within 2 months or 3 months or whatever, but because they just kind of it just kind of creeps up on you. But
Yeah.
yeah, gum disease is gone. That means no more sensitivity, um, no more bleeding gums. I can use a hotel toothbrush without blood in the sink. No more bad breath because of that too, which is
Mm.
great. It's nothing worse than when you start talking and someone goes, "Oh."
Yeah.
Um, so there's that. I had arthritis in my left knee. That's gone. That's
Wow.
probably the biggest thing
Mm,
because that impacts you so much on a day-to-day basis, like
yeah.
the
Yeah.
speed you can do things if you have to, if you're rushing to get to work or you're climbing the stairs or something like that. And I live in
Right.
Japan, so there's a lot of stairs
Yes,
to
you do a
climb.
lot of that. Yes.
Um, and kneeling again in Japan, kneeling down, sitting cross-legged, if you've got arthritis in your left knee, that's a pretty tough thing to do, but doesn't hurt me at all now. One thing I was talking to some friends about in a live stream today that I remembered about that is even though I no longer have the pain, the arthritis in the left knee, um, when I go to kneel down, I
Mm,
still have that little subconscious kind of itch that says, "Hey, this is going to hurt." And I have to kind of force myself to go, "No, it's not." You know, it's like, I don't know, if you're at a theme park or something and, you go on, I don't know, a skydiving simulator or something like that, right? You kind of you've got to tell your subconscious, you've got to tell
yeah.
your mind, I'm not actually jumping out the plane. It's safe. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing, that reaction. Um, so yeah, anyway, that's improved. And a limp that I've had for 30 years.
Mm,
Um, has also improved. So I limp to my right side and on my right side, and that has got a lot better. And I was weaker in my right side as well, and that's improving too. Um, so that's been really good. And those things are a result of a stroke that I suffered when I was 17 years old.
oh wow.
And basically, after the stroke happened, I had my initial recovery, whether it was, 6 months to a year, and then nothing's changed for 30 years. And
Wow.
being on carnivore, things have suddenly started to change and improve. So along with the arthritis going, I've also had improve on my left side. I've also had improvements on my right side. So you can imagine 14 months ago, I looked pretty bad walking down the street.
My gosh, I couldn't imagine with the amount of walking that you'd be doing in Japan.
Hmm. Yeah, it was
Oh,
rough. And
wow.
like just from the station to walk to work, I've got a 15-minute walk, like it was rough. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, but and just the last thing, the weight has come off. I've lost 15 kilos, so about 34 pounds. And also, as part of that, muscle has come on pretty easily. Um, I don't do a lot of weights. I do go to the gym and um, do a little bit like just dumbbell presses, but the I've just never experienced this level of muscle building in my life before. So
Right, right.
that's it seems like meat is almost like the ultimate steroid, I feel. It's yeah.
Wow.
Mm,
That's amazing, Dave. I'm still shocked every time I hear someone's story and just the amount of things that you've mentioned that you've improved, um, and that has improved as an outcome of the carnivore diet since starting it. It honestly still it just amazes me, and I've heard your story a few times still, but when you repeat it again, it's just and uh in terms of your story with your stroke, you know, it really, you know, yeah, it amazes me because, as my background as a nurse, I've treated people who've had strokes in the past, and just the normal. Oh, sorry. Before I forget to ask, what type of stroke was it that was it a clot or a
uh,
bleed?
subarachnoid hemorrhage, yeah, bleed.
Sorry, a bleed. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, generally, the outcomes for strokes, and I'm just going to generalize here. Um, I don't really see a lot of improvements in people, uh, any quick improvements after the 6 month mark.
Mm.
It's usually quite slow in progression, but um, it's so it's so great to hear that since
Mm.
going on a carnivore diet, even after 30 years, you've made improvements on your gait, your strengthening in that one side, and yeah,
Mm.
it's amazing. So
Yeah. I've been lucky on a number of counts. I was lucky to survive it in the first place, especially considering it
yeah,
happened in my sleep. And
wow.
and I'm lucky now that, uh, improve well, healing has restarted, it seems.
Y- yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So were there any challenges that you encountered during, with the carnivore diet, or what were some of the challenges that you may or may not have encountered?
Um, so of course there's the dreaded kind of the bathroom visits at the start.
Yes.
But given I was coming from keto, and
Mm-hmm.
I've already done low carb and keto a number of times in the past, I think my body was pretty much adapted to running off fat. So that wasn't really the issue. And the fact I was knocking the vegetables on the head, um, it kind of all worked out okay. And I worked out very early on. I can basically control things using, based on the amount of fat that I put in. If it's like you put in too much fat, it's like, okay, I know I've gone too far. I'm
Yeah.
going to be, I'm going to be running to the bathroom. So I kind of worked out where to sit with that. But other than that, I think at the start, I think I did notice a little bit of mood change, which would probably be negative. Um,
Mm.
and that was like, I don't know, it felt like suddenly I'd gotten more testosterone or something.
Oh.
Like, and it was just like I was, maybe if something would happen, I'd react to it quite quickly and I don't know, not always the most positive reaction, like not
Mm-mm.
punching anything or whatever, but like it was
Right,
just
right,
a quick reaction, and maybe I would sound more terse if I was replying to someone or whatever. But
right,
that calmed down. I guess that was just maybe my body adjusting. Hmm.
right, right.
I don't think anything else. No.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's quite interesting with the the bathroom issues. How uh, I guess you learn to adapt, even if if you've with a lot of people who complain about the same thing. Uh, with a bit of self experimentation, with balancing out how much fat to protein you'd be eating, how easy it is to fix the solution and use and that was only short term, was it? The gut
Yeah.
issues? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I I found the happy medium pretty quick. But
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
just by chance. But yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, to
yeah.
anyone else, I would say the first thing I would say if they talk about bathroom stuff is just you just got to experiment with how much you're putting in. Um,
Yes.
yeah. And you know, I heard today from Dr. Chafee that
Mm.
if you're getting more of your fat from actually from the meat rather than from something like beef tallow, then you're less likely to have the bathroom problems.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Didn't know that.
if
Yeah.
I'd known that, it would have been even
Yeah.
quicker at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was the same from my experience too. It was very short lived. I mean, I think the bathroom issues is for me the way I look at it is, well, with any of the changes that someone might have experienced, is just you know I think any change to someone's diet is going to make major impact in how what things they experience. Basically, your body's is shocked
Mm.
about what's going on and uh, you know we've got to
Where's the
adapt somehow. So.
cornflakes? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where's the cake that we were supposed to be having?
Yeah.
Awesome. So going back a little bit, Dave, on history with the alcohol. Um, you're you are you completely alcohol free at this stage
Yeah,
or
100%. Yeah. 3rd of June.
100%?
So
Okay.
2nd of June last year was my last drink.
Right, right, right.
Mm.
And so, if you don't mind me asking, how much were you drinking prior to stopping?
Um, it could get to I mean, I don't think I was, I wasn't the kind of alcoholic that would be rolling into work drunk or anything like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
it could be a couple of liters a night.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay. And unfortunately, that's sadly easy to do in Japan.
Yes, I
Yeah.
completely
Way
understand.
too
Yeah.
easy.
Right, right.
And it's just it had become a dependency, and
Mm,
you know everything revolved around that, and I'd have my last class of the day, which was, finishing at 9:30 at night or something, and it
mm,
wasn't going well. And I had students that didn't want to be there or something like that. And
mm.
I'd just be thinking to myself, it's okay. In 30 minutes time, you'll be on the train and you'll be able to crack your first beer open, and then everything's going to be okay. And it was all
Yeah.
just about that cracking the beer open and, or having the high chew or whatever it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
It's
chew high. High chews are sweet. Sorry. Chew high.
yeah. um yeah, the reason I ask is and this is probably the first time I'll kind of open up about this on my channel in this side of my story. But I used to also drink a fair amount
Mm,
uh prior to going on the carnivore diet or even when I went keto. Um Again, not someone who would be drinking large copious amounts, uh but definitely I would say on a daily basis I'd be consuming a fair amount of beer, spirits, and similar to you, it became a dependence. But since going carnivore, I've stopped. So, uh, stopped drinking alcohol, or I shouldn't say I've stopped completely. I've really limited myself to having at least two occasions in a year where I would drink alcohol, and that's my birthday and Christmas.
mm,
So, uh, yeah, it's interesting because I noticed huge benefits straight away from cutting the alcohol out of my
mm.
diet. Would you say the same thing too for yourself?
Uh, oh yeah, I mean, just it's instant. Um, just waking up in the morning is so much
Yeah,
easier, like waking up after a night on the. I'm going to sound really Australian now. Waking up after a night on the Terps, yeah, um, you just feel awful.
yeah, yeah,
And also you not only feel bad, you not only like, oh, I just don't want to face the day, you're also beating yourself up because it was like yesterday was supposed to be my first day where I wasn't going to have a drink, and and
yeah, yeah.
it's just that cycle. It goes on and on and on.
Wow.
Mm.
Right.
And
So,
so,
yeah.
I mean, this is it's something I knew even before the doctor said. It's something I knew I needed to get over. I needed to give it away. I knew, like, um my father was an alcoholic, and
Mm,
he got um something called Wernicke's.
right. Yes.
Yeah. And that was just devastating for him.
Mm, mm,
So yeah, I knew I had to give it up because I didn't want to end up in the same situation. Yeah.
right.
So it's just, perfect storm. Everything happened at the one time, and the doctor's saying, well, we've got this nice medication I want to give you. It was just like, oh no, I've got to do something about this now. Now doctors are involved. It's getting serious.
It's interesting how doctors will. I mean, how when they start to introduce the treatment options of potentially taking a medication
Mm.
or changing a lifestyle, that is often a catalyst to a lot of people. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah. um so I want to talk about your I guess, and this is something I alluded to in my interview with you in your channel, was uh the I guess social aspect
Mm.
in going carnivore. What is your experience like, and what is something, I guess, someone being who's lived in Japan.
Mm.
There's a huge culture, huge food culture, and I'm talking about the amount of rice that they would eat.
Mm.
And I assume that would be something that you would consume at quite a lot being in Japan.
Mm.
Um, how how has that been for you, I guess, and what have you experienced in that regard?
So it hasn't really been an issue for me.
Okay.
And mainly because when I first realized I needed to do something, um,
Yeah.
I just decided I've got to get myself back to having this level of self-control. And part of what I need to do is kind of change my routines and stuff to get some more self-control. But what I also need to do is I need to avoid social situations for a
Mm,
while.
mm, yeah.
And I thought if I go around to a friend's place and they're having a barbecue or they're making dinner or whatever, and everyone's sitting around drinking and stuff, I'm just going to be into the drink straight away.
Yeah.
And so I just avoided those situations for a while. And you know, it was probably only, I would say, two, maybe three at the most months in where it just nothing bothered me anymore. And, that could be from someone making snide comments about, oh, you're not going to eat that, are you? Or something like that. Like it could be something like that. Or, it could be just being out with friends at a restaurant that doesn't serve anything that fits, and me just going, I'm happy to sit here and socialize and drink a nice coffee or something while we socialize, but I don't need to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got over, I got enough control of things that, yeah, about 2 or 3 months in, didn't bother me at all.
That is awesome.
And I really, I credit carnivore with that, not keto, because I've been on keto before, and it
Mm,
as much self-control as it does give you, it is still easy to fall off the wagon, I feel, with keto,
mm, mm, mm.
having been on it quite a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And yeah, it's I think for some people it affects them a lot more than others. It con it's a bit of a contrast on my end where it really played a huge part in my mind, I guess. But yeah, you're right. It's very short-lived. Um,
I think one of the advantages I guess I've got in Japan
mm,
is Japanese culture operates very, very, very well on stereotypes, right? They
yes,
love stereotypes because they like to be able to put someone in some kind of group.
yes.
And, I'm a foreigner in living in Japan, right? So if I'm always like, if they see me doing something out of the ordinary or not what a Japanese person would do, they're just gonna go, oh, he's just a foreigner. Ah, that's what
He had a
Australians
card.
do. Or actually, they won't say
Yes.
that's what Australians do. They would just go, oh, all Americans are like that. Because,
Yeah.
again, the stereotype, if you're Western looking, you must be American, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
Hmm.
had a trump card. You had something to just well.
Yeah, so I've always got that up my sleeve. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
he's just a foreigner. Mm.
That's interesting. And I guess have what are some of the things that if people have, I guess, do you get a lot of positive reception from your people that you know, or is it a
Um,
mixed bag of negative and
I get,
positive?
I get, I haven't really had anything all that negative. Um,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's usually just along the lines of, wow, you look good.
Yeah.
Um, and, um, what did you do? And then I'll tell them what I did, and then they'll just slowly back away. It's
Yeah.
it's yeah, there no one's Uh, some people have indicated they want to try it, but then they're just like, "Oh no, I could never do that," that kind of thing. So it's
Right.
I mean, and I make it look extra extreme because I do OMAD. And
Yes,
so,
yes. I've noticed
you
that.
know, not just the fact that I'm eating only meat and eggs, they're also like,
Mm.
you only eat meat and eggs and you only eat once a day. I could never do that. And so I think I'm not necessarily the best advertisement for the carnivore diet, you know, because I've got these perceived hurdles in front of what I'm doing that, you know,
Mm.
regular people who are eating, you know, their 6 servings of cornflakes a day just
Yeah,
can't seem
yeah.
to get over.
Oh, I think you sound like most of the carnivore community. So
Mm.
um, that's very
Cheers.
yeah. Um, so actually, what does your carnivore diet look like in a day-to-day basis? So you mentioned you do OMAD and eat meat and eggs.
Mm. So OMAD also, like carnivore, OMAD also started by accident. So
Okay.
normally, when I was doing keto, I was doing 2 or 3 meals a day. And one weekend, it was a Sunday, um, I woke up later than usual. And so I didn't make breakfast at like 7 o'clock. It was like, 10 or 11 o'clock when I was making breakfast. And
Right.
just had this massive bowl of scrambled eggs. I hadn't been shopping the day before, so there was no meat in the house. So I just had a massive bowl of scrambled eggs. And I just ate that. So I guess about 11 o'clock. And because I was eating so late, I just didn't feel hungry again when it got to the evening. And I was like, "Ugh, I can't be bothered cooking anything, and I don't feel hungry, so I'm going to see if I can skip it." Because I'd been watching Sten Ekberg at the time, and he talks a lot about intermittent fasting. And so I thought, I'll give it a go, see if I can do 1 meal a day. And sure enough, I felt great. Woke up the next day, wasn't feeling all that hungry, which surprised me. And so I just challenged myself again. Can I just do 1 meal and see if I can get through? Got through, no problem. And yeah, it's also 1 year carnivore, 1 year OMAD. And
Wow.
every day is just breakfast. Weekdays is 7 a.m. every morning. Um, 10 eggs cooked in lard, scrambled, with topped with 600 grams of ground beef.
Wow.
I used to include cheese, but friend challenged me to get the cheese out of my diet for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I did it, and it flattened my stomach by getting that out of my diet. So yeah, no cheese anymore.
Wow. Amazing.
Mm.
So quite close to actually probably 100% carnivore.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, nothing like yeah, meat and eggs. That's it.
That is
And yeah,
awesome.
cooked in tallow or lard.
That is awesome.
Mm.
And is has that been, I guess, and being in Japan,
Mm.
is that is that cost effective and easy to do in Japan to be on a
Co-
carnivore diet?
Cost effective. So, I mean, I'm spending less now than I was when I was just eating a regular
Yes.
diet. And that's because, when you're doing a regular diet, your daily meal plan is this, okay, got to eat breakfast. Okay, 2 hours later, what snack am I going to have? 2 hours later,
Yeah.
what's for lunch? 2 hours later, what's my snack? 2 hours later, what's dinner? 2 hours later, what's the next snack? So you're always eating. So you're always at the convenience store. You're always
Yes.
somewhere buying
Yeah.
something. So when you're doing carnivore, although things tend to be more expensive in Japan, um, it's ends up overall it's you're saving money because you're not going out and buying crap all the time. And
Right.
so like I think probably right now the price of eggs is probably cheaper than it would be in America or Australia because I think the price
Right,
of
right.
eggs have gone crazy. So
Yes,
um
yes.
for 10 they sell eggs by the 10 here, not by the dozen. So for 10 eggs, it's about in Australian dollars it would be $3.50. US dollars would be about $2 something. Yeah.
Wow, it is cheaper. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but beef, 600 grams of ground beef, that cost me about $11 Australian,
Right,
$9 US.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess. Look, I only ask because I guess I've been to Japan a few times, and of course, as a tourist, you go for the high end sort of meats, the wagyus, and so
Mm.
that's what I didn't really know what the average sort of cost is for your everyday sort of groceries, but I do know that the meat in especially the high end sort of stuff can get quite pricey.
I
So
think
that's good to know.
I think here you can even get it cheaper. If you go there are certain kinds of supermarkets you can go to here where you can get it even cheaper, but I
Right.
just don't have time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's good. Um, so I guess are you where are you at right now with this carnivore diet? And what I mean by that is, for example, for myself, I actually no longer consider this to be a kind of a diet of some sort.
Mm.
Because when I think of diet, I think of it as a short term, or it is something of a you've reached the goal, which is usually weight loss or muscle gain, and that's that. Um, and so I consider it more of a lifestyle, and I guess I wanted to see where your thoughts of it are at right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean I would agree. I just for me, um I don't like I don't see it as a diet at all. I mean,
Mm.
it's a diet in the traditional sense of the word diet,
Yes.
right? Which
Yeah.
is a way of eating. But yeah, it's not a diet in the new sense, which is, lose 20 pounds for that wedding day, get into the dress and then just start eating cake all, while you're at the wedding. So it's not a diet like that. It's this is it for me. I can't see myself ever going on to another diet, another style of diet for the remainder of my life. I feel too good. There are too many benefits on top of the feeling good benefits, like time savings, productivity. Um, like just not having to think about food is just you don't if you haven't been on this kind of diet, you do not know how good life is when you don't have to think about food. It's just it's so nice. Like, when I hear I'll be out and I'll hear like people talking about food and trying to make decisions around food, or kids asking their parents, "Oh, buy me this candy," or whatever. And I just think, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore.
Mm.
It's great. So I'm a convert. I can't ever see myself giving up.
That's awesome. I hear you,
Mm,
Dave. I hear you. And and it's awesome too because you know, basically everyone I've spoken to in the carnival community um has said exactly the same. Uh, they feel justified that this is it. This is a long-term thing. Um, for me anyway, it just goes to show how powerful this diet really is. Um, and yeah, so uh, how would you, or I guess, what is your approach now in terms of, you've got your social media,
mm.
uh, and I guess we could talk about that. Uh, where can people reach you, and what are your social media
Sure.
outlets?
So, right now, I'm basically on YouTube mainly, and I'm also on Twitter a little bit. YouTube, I can be found at No Carb Life, and the handle for that is at Zero Carb. And on Twitter, it's at Real Zero Carb. And yeah, basically my channel is just about getting the word out there because more and more and more people need to know about this because people are
Mm,
dying needlessly because they believe that General Mills and Kellogg's have got their best interests at heart, you know?
mm. Yeah. and
Yeah.
and 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 the top tier organization as well. They've definitely got your interest at, there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, um, I guess some final words. Is there anything, if there's anything to, I guess, get out there to people,
Mm.
um, that are curious about the carnivore diet? What are your, I guess, words to say? How would you sell it? How would you best sell it to
Sure. So I would say, um, if you're even remotely considering it, give it a try. Just try it out for a month. If you can, it's best to try it out for, say, 3 months, but just give it a month.
Mm,
And I'm going to quote something I heard in a friend's video today, and that was try it out for a month, just do meat and eggs only for a month. And then after that month, if you're still skeptical, go back to eating a regular diet for one day. Shove the ice cream in your face, shove the spaghetti in your face, eat the cornflakes, eat the bread, see how you feel at the end of that first day, and then decide whether you want to continue with carnivore or not. I think that is great advice. Unfortunately, I can't say it's my advice. It came from someone else, but yeah,
I think I know the video you're talking about too. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Um, awesome. Well, look, I just want to say thank you, Dave. Thank you for your time.
Not
I'll
a
have
problem.
your links for your social media in the description of this video. Um, and yeah, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time.